Hello and welcome everybody to Game Flicks and Chill. I am Nick. This is Dante. This is your podcast where we talk about pretty much anything gaming, movies, music, anything like that. Anything we want to talk about. We talk about it here on Game Flicks and Chill. This week we're going to be talking what would he say? Like the top 5 worst movies of all time. And I got a little bonus topic. We're actually going to start off right here. Um, So you said you hadn't seen anything about the Helldivers shit, right?
Yeah, nothing.
Okay. So, Daddy Sony, who is the partner for Helldivers, has pretty much said that if you've been playing on PlayStation or if you've been playing on PC, you are now, in order to play the game, required to create a PlayStation account.
Oh,
Now, the entire community is in uproar. On a surface level, it's very much not that big of a deal. You know, you think, how long does it take to make a PlayStation account? Probably like 5 minutes. You know, you really all you need email, phone number, some little bit of personal information, and verify whatever. On a deeper level, it's a little bit more complicated than that. PlayStation or PC players are pissed. So Twitter, as usual, on fire. Um, they on Steam tanked the ratings for Helldivers 2. And when I say tanked, I mean they fucking tanked it. In the last I'm looking for it right here. In the last like 24 hours, the reviews for the game have become mostly negative. There were 414,598 reviews before, and now in the last 24 hours, there's 137,708 bad reviews. So I'm gonna go back to the whole having to create a PlayStation account thing.
it doesn't seem a big deal.
Right. Until you get to realize that there are um like 60 or 70 countries that it is illegal to make a PlayStation account in. That is 60 to 70 countries that used to be able to play a game on a computer that they paid for that will no longer have access to play that game because they cannot make a PlayStation account because they're banned or because Sony doesn't allow those countries to make PlayStation's account.
You know what I say? Move. If you're that upset about it, do something.
Here,
Move.
here's the other half. I mean, saying move to play a video game, like, I mean, yeah, we're talking about Afghanistan, Albania, but big one is, I believe, China. So, the other thing I wanted to say about it is because of this is kind of a double-sided statement I'm about to say here. PlayStation is notorious for data breaches. You remember 2011?
Oh, I remember all of them.
The entire network got shut down by hackers for like a month.
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to play Black Ops 1 and couldn't.
Oh, no.
Um in That was in, I believe, April of 2011. Then in May of 2011, it got hacked again and they stole a bunch of information. June of 2011, the website was hacked and personal information of over 1 million accounts was taken. You know, the list goes on and on. In the most recent one was this past year, October 2023. There was another data breach where they actually don't know how many people's information was stolen. Because of all these countries that can't create a Helldiver or a PlayStation account to play Helldivers, they are searching for the stolen data breached information. I want you to guess whose information also got taken in that data breach that now has been tried to be logged into. Hold on. 4 separate times from other countries so that people can play Helldivers. Because you can't create an account, but you can log into an existing one.
I don't know. Let's hear it.
Mine. I've gotten 4 text messages from Sony about my 2-factor authentication. People trying to get into my account. That way they can sign in on PC and play Helldivers. Yes. It is so bad. A game that I thought was great. I am now getting my personal information. I don't want to say used, but like attempted to be hijacked so that somebody in another country that can't make one can play.
Damn, it's almost like the developer should have, I don't know, went through Microsoft.
I don't disagree at this point. However, the developers are not happy about the situation either.
Oh, I believe it.
The developers, like, dude, the Helldivers 2 official Discord is it's more on fire than Twitter. Like, 2023 was such an amazing year for gaming. We had so many, like, banger after banger, single-player experiences, multiplayer experiences. Call of Duty kind of got fixed, and it became fun again for, a little bit. And
it had a week.
We play it every weekend. I'm not saying we have to like it, but it's fun. This game is more fun in more smaller doses than anyway. But like 2023, such a good year for gamers. 2024, fucking Tarkov's on fire. Helldivers comes out and then burns itself to the ground.
What's up with Tarkov?
This one I haven't even looked into a whole lot. I'll give you some cliff notes because that's pretty much all I'm qualified to do. So there's this edition of the game where if you bought like the $150 fucking edition that has been out or something, you get access to like DLC, which I guess they're making like a zombies mode, like a PvE mode. And they're making something else, but then they changed their mind and said whoever bought that edition doesn't get access to the future DLCs, but it was paid for. And originally they said they were going to get access to future DLCs, and then they changed their mind and made another edition that is more expensive that said this is the edition, like a $250 version of Tarkov.
Jesus.
More on that. The $250 edition gets access to this thing called, it's a legacy item, which allows you to call in like squad mates into your raid. So the biggest thing with this is if a hacker were to go in, wipe out a raid, and then say, you pay him $20 and you tell him what items you want. He finds some of the items. He then calls you into the fucking raid. You pick up the items and then you exfil. So you pay a hacker to go wipe everybody out so you can get your items and then you leave.
I mean, hey, people can do what they want with their money.
See, this is where it becomes problematic. Your hands are like kind of clean. You know, they're a little blood red. You know, you paid a hacker to go wipe out a lobby, but whatever, right? You know, you didn't hack. Where it gets muddy is, say this hacker gets banned. What's he have to do? Go and buy another $250 version of the game. So Battle State Games is making a lot of money. And I guess there's another drop that completely breaks like the lore of Tarkov. Like Tarkov is you're supposed to be like cut off from the world, but now you can call in like a fucking tank. It's like, how are you calling in? You have no reinforcements. You're cut off from the world. Like that's not what the game is about. Imagine you're in a fucking intense battle in Tarkov, and then someone just calls in a tank, and you're like, well, fuck it. Yeah, it was, but all of this shit is unlocked or locked behind massive fucking paywalls. I just don't know what the fuck games developers are doing.
Hey, side note, I just started seeing some of the content for that Skur ritual. Looks pretty good.
I don't know if is it available on Xbox?
I don't think so. At least not yet. It's still kind of in its early stages.
I think they're working on a PlayStation release. So hopefully that's not the case. Because with everything that's been going on with it's on Xbox.
Oh, is it?
Yep. Came out in 2022. Yeah, we can. I don't know if it's crossplay, but I'd imagine it is. We might be able to try that out. Cool. I don't know. I will don't get it yet, but
No, I'm just looking.
But yeah, the roadmap looks really good. There's already 3 maps in the game. 4 new cosmetics. Which I'm guessing are just like skin packs for the characters, which are cool. PS5 crossplay, so maybe they're adding crossplay onto PC and Xbox, or adding PS5 to crossplay. I would pull it up, but our cams are fucking broken on that other thing. Actually, you know what? I'll fucking do it. Copy.
Oh, they got a lot of
Let's see. Oh, yep, that fucked it up. I think we're going to, I don't know. I think it's going to be Cold War again. And we're going to get another version of Outbreak.
Oh man.
Like but it's not going to be exactly Outbreak. I think it's going to be a version of Outbreak mixed with MW3 zombies. It's going to be kind of molding together. I think it's going to go, instead of, you know how we had kind of like more unique like locations to we were teleporting to and from an Outbreak. I think it's going to be more so like we are with these Dark Ether rituals, Dark Ether rifts locations in MW3. I think we're definitely going to have more of like an extraction with like all the Warzone locations. Or no, this is a big or. It's already rumored that when Treyarch drops their next title that we're going to get Verdansk to come back to Warzone, we could be getting MWZ in Verdansk, but, you know, for Treyarch's here. It's already, like, rumored that they put this thing together, this MWZ together in, like, I don't know, a couple months. So they could probably do the same thing for Verdansk, you know, give it a different skybox, put some zombies on it, put some contracts, and then we'll get a new MWZ and maybe like new schematics, but for Treyarch, I don't know. I ideally I'd like to see 2 round-based maps at launch. If you can't do 2 round-based maps at launch, we're fucking lost. This game's been in development for 2 years or 4 years, the longest any Call of Duty game has been in development for. If you can't get us the minimum which we fucking had in Black Ops 1. We had 2 round-based maps in Black Ops 1. One was 5, one was Kino. You got 5 after you beat the campaign or went over to the little terminal. If you can't do that after 4 years, I'm done. I am done. Unless, like, they give us one map, but that map is a fucking banger. I'm talking the reincarnation of fucking combination of fucking Shadows of Evil, Mob of the Dead, you know, mixed together. You know, it's got a good fucking Easter egg. It's got kind of more of a hard Easter egg. It's got more of an easy Easter egg for new players. But then you do like the hardcore Easter egg and okay, you know, good wonder weapons. It's got to have good characters that I give a shit about. Not this operator bullshit, but operators sell skins, so.
Yeah, as long as they don't bring the Ray K and Ordo back, I don't care.
Yeah, dude, all of the, you know what's funny? Ever since MWZ came out, all of the enemies from Cold War, the Disciple, the Mimic, and the Abomination, well, maybe not really the Abomination, but, you know, Disciple, Mimic, Mangler, and Abomination. I am so tired of seeing them.
Yep.
So tired. If I see a single one of those enemies, except for maybe the Megaton.
Oh, it'd be nice seeing a Megaton again.
If I see a single Mimic, a single Abomination, a single Mangler, or a single Disciple in this game, I swear to fucking God, I'm done.
Honestly, I'd be happy if the Disciples just aren't in it. They're just the Disciple.
I'm just so tired of seeing those enemy types. Like, and like the Krasny Soldat was cool in Cold War, but like it's a fucking Panzer. We've been seeing it since Black Ops 2 Origins. You know, it's been in Origins. It's been in fucking Der Eisen. It's been in Revelations. It's been in Cold War, Mardertoten, and in Outbreak. Like, give me a little. I mean, we got a little break from the Krasny in or the Panzer in MWZ, so maybe it is coming back. I don't know, but yeah, that's my idea. And I want to fucking go
I
ahead.
want something that's kind of like an assassin type zombie, where until it's close to you, it's almost invisible, and it can sneak up on you, kind of deal.
There was one in
What was
Shaolin
that?
Shuffle on
Ah,
Infinite
yeah.
Warfare. I mean, it's not a Treyarch game, but it wasn't really invisible, but they could teleport. They could
No, I
like
want to be
teleport
just sitting
right onto
somewhere.
you.
I want to be sitting there, thinking, "Oh, I'm okay." We got a crawler. We're all good, and then it's actually just boom, dude just pops up in front of me and scares the actual piss out of me.
I wouldn't. Do you remember? I don't know if you ever played Call of Duty World War II.
I did a little bit. It was only the first map.
First map was the best one.
Okay, well then, yeah, I played it.
When it first launched, they kind of had like a horror vibe going to it. There were some jump scares, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of really liked that.
Well, yeah,
I'm
they
not
made
saying
a
Treyarch
game
should
about
do that.
zombies. They had a little bit of a scare factor in it. You remember when you were playing through World at War, and you got to the end, you put that flag up, and then it's like, oh, what am I doing here? That's that kind of moment I want to
I
feel.
I have a YouTube video about World at War zombies in the works. So yes,
Nice.
I spoke of that entire experience. I don't know if you ever noticed this, but they did change the way the zombies sound from Nocturne Toten to Verrucht.
Really?
Yes, in the originals. Little fun fact.
Huh.
They sound so much more like demonic in Nocturne Toten. And then in Verrucht, they sound more like the zombies that you would expect to hear. Yeah.
Huh.
I went back and played World at War. It's a little rough. Cause when I played those maps, really, like I played Shinonuma and Darice, and I never really liked Verrucht as a kid. But I played primarily on World at War. I played Shinonuma and Darice. I didn't play a whole lot of Noct and Verrucht. And Shinonuma's like fucking busted. You can get to round like 11,000 on Shinonuma. But whenever I played those maps, like kind of more seriously, was in Black Ops 1 when they came back. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to say for COD 2025 or 2024. Please, just for the love of God, just help me and get rid of the goddamn Hulu menu system. Make it simple. Go back to something a little bit easier to navigate. Like, even the Black Ops 2 menu was so innovative. You had listicle shit for like your multiplayer, your campaign. Like, it was easier to understand than this menu that we have now. And Black Ops 1, it was a list, but it was unique. You could look around the CIA observation room. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, Black Ops 1, I will say it, probably has one of the best starting screen menus ever in all of video games.
Damn.
Name another one where there's an Easter egg where you're a guy strapped into a chair where you can break free and go over to a terminal and type in stuff into a terminal to unlock different modes of the game. And play, you can play a game called Zork on the Black Ops 1 terminal.
True.
You can type in commands, and I think it gives you like different character bios too. Like I don't know everything that it does, but it's insane. Then, if you ever noticed, it transitions to whenever it's in the zombie mode. Like there's fucking pictures of all the DLC maps scattered around on all the screens that wasn't even like released yet. Yeah, it's fucking sick, dude. Anyway. I think we just spent half an hour talking about video games, so let's talk about our worst movies of all time. My bottom of my list is going to be Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Actually, it'll be Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker, because I think that movie is significantly more egregious. But it has to share the spot. I'm calling an audible here. It's a 2-spotter. It has to share the spot with The Last Jedi.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, over the last few years, I will say The Last Jedi did irreparable damage to that trilogy. I think it did some cool stuff, and I would have liked to see certain things that did happen in The Last Jedi. Other things I saw, I wish I never saw them, when it came to The Last Jedi. Like, I wish they wouldn't have killed Luke. I wish they would have maybe trained up Rey a little bit more and made her actually struggle with some of her force powers first, instead of being able to lift an entire mountainside like it's no problem. I wanted to see her like fail a little bit. So far in that entire trilogy, we've never seen her fail, Yeah. She didn't fail until the last movie. She almost killed Chewie, and then turns out it was a fake out death. Chewie was still alive. I wanted to see Rey fail a little bit. That's the best part of Empire Strikes Back, is that Luke gets his ass handed to him, and he comes back and wins. It's the easiest fucking character arc thing to do to show that your character has developed and became stronger, right? He fails, he returns stronger. She never failed during the entire trilogy. Rian Johnson didn't let her fail in that movie. He let the entire Rebel Alliance, the Resistance, fucking be almost completely fucking destroyed. There were 10 of them left. Enough people that they fit on the Millennium Falcon, right?
Yep.
But Rey couldn't fail. Huh. I didn't like the fact that Luke was the reason that Kylo went to the dark side, because Luke almost went to the dark side and killed Kylo. Like, that is such a bullshit thing. I don't think Luke would do that, because Luke has already been tempted by the dark side in the most heinous, the most criminal way that one can be, attracted to the dark side, by killing their own father, killing the Emperor, and essentially like becoming the new Emperor and rolling the galaxy. Like that was what was on the table in Return of the Jedi. Luke wouldn't have done that. Short story, to make a longer explanation that I could keep going into shorter. Because of all these decisions, fucking J.J. Abrams was backed into a corner for the third movie in the trilogy, and he had the most horrible fucking writing team working for him, just trying to figure out, how did fucking Rian Johnson fuck this up? How did he fuck this up? Okay, we gotta fix this. They were literally doing damage control, taking fucking advice on how to make their trilogy from the fucking Star Wars Reddit to make the third one. That is why they share my number 5th spot. Still not the worst movie I've ever seen.
Okay.
But yeah, it's my top 5. So our number 1's gonna be the worst one, right? That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
All right. So my number 5 slot, it's actually a series. It's the Chronicles of Narnia.
Okay, the first one.
All of them.
Oh,
It's as a whole. There was just something about it between the bad acting, the bad set, like just everything about it. As someone like, obviously, I'm not just talking because I read the books, but yeah, a lot of the stuff from the books and the movies were pretty accurate, but a lot of the stuff in the movie had nothing to do with the book. And it's just, I think my biggest thing, like I said, was the bad acting. I didn't like the set designs. I didn't like the designs for the characters. Just all that.
now
So that's my.
it's been years since I've seen those movies. I didn't mind the first one. I think the second one was awful.
I could see that.
Um,
I mean, out of all 5 of them, I think there's 3 or 5. I can't remember how many movies, but if I had to say, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was probably the only redeemable one, and that was
mhm.
the first one.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've seen them. I'm trying to remember. It's The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and then Prince Caspian.
Hmm.
I've literally read these books, but it has been so long. Um, all right. I'm kind of winging this list here. And my 4th spot is kind of in my head tied between 2. Both of them are egregious character assassinations and essentially spitting on the source material. Um, I'll go with this spot for Percy Jackson and
Okay.
the Lightning Thief. Okay. So a little side note. It's been a long time since I've seen these movies. Read these books. I've been reading or listening to them again on Audible because honestly, I don't know. I needed something to do to pass the time at work. I always liked these books when I was a kid, and I will say they're a little bit harder to read or listen to or read as an adult because it's just kind of not as relatable anymore, you know? Like they make like quips and jokes that are like, oh yeah, that's right. This was made for a kid. They don't really start getting good until the end when the character like the ends of the books where the character's getting older. Where more as like a Harry Potter, if when you're reading Harry Potter, you can read Harry Potter and like it's still okay. Like even now, I've read the first Harry Potter and book again, and it's still written better for even as you age with it, you know. These are not written that well for adults, and it's like I said, it's just little quips. But anyway, that's a sidebar. So I've been reading them again, and that got me thinking about the movie that they made. The absolute utter disrespect to the source material. Annabeth is described as a blonde girl with gray eyes. They casted a fucking brunette character. Not that I hate the actor. I actually think she's quite attractive, but she does not look like Annabeth. All these kids do not look like they're 12. They look like they're in their fucking 20s.
True.
They completely destroy certain aspects, like Luke fights Percy on Olympus at the end of the book, where Luke didn't reveal himself till they finished the quest, returned the lightning bolt to Zeus, and they got back to the camp, and then Luke attacked Percy. Percy almost fucking dies. Percy didn't have the winged shoes because Grover did, and that's what introduced us to the main bad guy that oversees the entire I think it's a 5-book series. The entire 5-book series is introduced to us because Grover almost gets dragged down to Tartarus. The whole thing didn't happen because Percy had the shoes. Like, and it's not just little things like that. Like, yes, they could have cut a lot of filler out. There was no, I don't even think there was a battle with what's his name? God of War, not Kratos.
Come on, let it cook.
I'm cooking a little too hard. I burned the kitchen down. Ares. I don't even think that he had a battle with Ares.
Oh.
It is an assassination of the source material. It is awful. It explains. It doesn't explain anything really, but like even the little stuff that it should be easy, like Annabeth being a blonde girl with gray eyes, couldn't get it right. The kids being the right ages, you couldn't get it right. I know that a lot of child actors end up being older than they look like or should be in the movie. Like I get that. It was just fucking awful. And I haven't watched it in a long time. I probably won't ever watch it. There's a million analyses of that movie over on YouTube. Go fucking watch them yourselves. I'm done. Can't do it no more. Your turn. Your number 4.
The Mummy, the Scorpion King. The one with the horrible CGI of Dwayne The Rock Johnson as a half man, half scorpion.
Okay. Go ahead, explain your reasoning. But I'm going to rebut.
Listen, I shouldn't say liked. I have loved all of the Mummy movies. You know, they weren't the best performances. It wasn't the best screen time. But like there was something about it that they're okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm watching that one and I'm like, you could have done that. You could have just made The Rock there and given him a tail. Like just attach a fucking tail to him. A belt and a tail. And be like, oh yeah, he's a Scorpion King. Why are you CGIing upper half? He's not a centaur. Why are you CGIing half a body onto a giant ass scorpion? It just seems like extra work. The whole plot of that movie was trash because the main villain wasn't even in the movie. It's literally called The Mummy. Why is the Scorpion King the biggest deal? Sorry, this actually fucking pisses me off a little bit.
So I don't hate that one as much as you do. I definitely can agree that it was not as good as the first one. I agree that yes, the main villain of the first movie is kind of like the side villain in this that is trying to get to the Scorpion King to obtain his power. Yes, it's not as good as the first one. The first one, amazing, special place in my heart. I will say that it kind of with the Book of the Dead and the Book of the Living still existing, right? They kind of break that universe because there's no stakes. Everyone's alive, everyone's dead.
Yeah.
But The first one was so good. I don't hate the second one as much as you do. I hate the third one. The Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, that's it.
Cannot stand that one. They couldn't even get the entire cast to come back. It was in that era of CG where like it wasn't as bad as the Scorpion King thing, but it wasn't as good as what we have now. So it just looks weird. Like when people interact with CG things, it's just like, ugh. You can tell that thing isn't really there. But yeah, good spot. Good spot. I respect your pick. Although I think the third one is much worse. My number 3 spot.
Yep.
It's gonna go to Thor: The Dark World. From
You know what?
oh, hold on, wait. I don't think I can fucking rightfully do this. Because one literally just came to my mind that is so much worse. I would still say I think I like Thor: The Dark World more than the Star Wars movies. So I'd say Thor: The Dark World should be my number 6. Nothing happens in that movie. Like nothing. The reality stone. Okay, there you go. It goes to this guy. Boom, movie's over. It could have been told in a YouTube short.
Yeah.
Anyway, my number 3, I'm sorry, I'm throwing an audible here. The M. Night Shyamalan version of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay.
Disrespectful to the source material. The firebenders can't bend fire unless there's fire around, which isn't how it works. Fire comes from within. The characters are assassinated. They can't even get the pronunciation of the characters' names proper. The acting is terrible, which I get. You know, they're children, they're young, I understand. But some of these things, like, dude, it's awful. It's truly awful. It is. It's terrible. And I have nothing else to say. Like, I don't understand how that movie was directed by a pretty damn good director. M. Night Shyamalan made some cool stuff. But it's like he didn't even watch the animated show. He just had somebody, like, over in the corner explaining to him as he was writing out storyboards. And I'm pretty sure, like, the TV show only exists in 3 seasons. So it's the perfect thing to make maybe 4 movies out of if you wanted to keep in some of the filler stuff, because even the filler stuff in that show isn't really filler. All the characters you meet on their, like, little side, haha, I'm having fun, like, episodes, they come back and they're important in the end. So it's like, you can't really get rid of a whole lot. But it's only 3 seasons, and the episodes are pretty short. So we can condense them and make 3, maybe 4 movies. And you can keep 1-to-1 source material. Season 1 is movie 1. Season 2, movie 2. Season 3, movie 3. And then maybe, like, your 4th season is literally the ever-long battle between, like, it's literally just a war going on as your 4th movie and the finale. Like, there's so much wrong with that movie. Kathleen Kennedy produced it, and then they let her have fucking Star Wars after that. It is completely disrespectful to the source material, and I will have no more to say about it. It's awful.
I feel you on that.
You're number 3.
All right. Now, this one is going to get a lot of hate. It is every single Harry Potter but The Prisoner of Azkaban.
Really?
Yeah. I was never
Yeah,
when it
you
came
you
down to it,
weren't.
I was never into the movies. I loved the books.
I feel like, hold on, time out. I feel like you put Prisoner of Azkaban on there just because you know that's like the best one, and it is actually a good movie.
Yes.
Okay.
That one is definitely separated from all the rest. I just I my thing was I never had like whenever I'm watching something, you got to give me somebody that I can get attached to, that I can relate to, whatever it may be. And I just didn't have that in any of the movies.
Yeah.
I just there wasn't a connection.
I,
Oh, he was a little orphan boy. His parents died protecting him. That's cool. I don't give a crap. I'm not an orphan.
yeah.
Like I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm sure a lot of people love that movie. I know a lot of people do, or movies.
I
It's just
I
come
f-
on now.
I feel like the characters that you would get like you would relate to the most are some of like the darker characters actually. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
And you're constantly being told that those characters suck. And I for one like Voldemort. I think he's a good bad guy. I I wouldn't put any of them on the worst movies of all time that I've seen list. You know what I mean?
hmm
But I feel like I'm doing this a little bit differently. I think for me, it is like source material, writing, directing, like how much did they fuck up a good story that already existed? You're going at it as I didn't really vibe with it. You know what I mean?
it's how my connection is to the
Right,
characters.
exactly.
And
So like that's why this is so fucking cool because we have a different kind of process of what makes these the worst movies. Um I will say that I think Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite of those. So obviously, I don't think it belongs anywhere near that list. Order of the Phoenix and the last one, the last two really
yeah,
were
the Deathly
probably
Hallows.
the Deathly Hallows.
hmm
Those movies are actually pretty good because they're up until like the final like Deathly Hallows, they like lose a lot in that last book and in the last two movies. Like they
Sure.
those the characters are at the lowest they have ever been, and they somehow managed to muster up the spirit to win. That's kind of why I like them, but I respect it. I respect it. I think Goblet of Fire is by far the worst.
Oh,
In
100%.
in respect to maybe Half Blood Prince. Half Blood Prince, it's like a toss up between the two. They're not good. Half Blood Prince is written as like a teeny fucking drama, and then the most important thing that happens is we learn about like the Horcruxes and Dumbledore dies. Like that is the most important thing that happens in Half Blood Prince. But Goblet of Fire is bad in a different way because it is like the guy that directed it wanted to make essentially Prisoner of Azkaban. Like that was what he wanted to do. He wanted to make it dark and kind of like a horror filled Harry Potter movie. But Azkaban came out right before it, and it was so much better than what it was received so much better than what Goblet of Fire was. And Goblet of Fire, there's literally lines in that movie. I think I mentioned it in like the best movies of all time podcast. Where Dumbledore in the book, it's like, Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? Dumbledore said calmly. And then in the movie, Dumbledore comes in and he's like, Harry! Harry! Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire, Harry? It's just like that isn't how that goes in the like it's a movie that was not respectful to the source material very well. So like those are my worst ones. I even a lot of people hate the Chamber of Secrets movie, and the acting isn't good, but like I said, they're young. I can get past that bad acting when they're that young, but they were very much finding themselves in those characters still at that point. But okay, I respect it. I respect it. You said Azkaban was, or not? Yeah, Azkaban was the best one. I think everybody, even Harry Potter fans, can agree that it was. My number two goes to. I'm at a toss up here. It's a movie I've only ever walked out of the theater a few times in my life. The first one was at The Last Jedi. The Last Jedi. I walked out, but walked back in. I was like, gonna leave. And then I was like, I'm invested now. Like, I have to see how this ends. And I walked back in. The movie that I'm about to say, I walked out, turned my back to it, waited for it to come on to like Netflix, waited to watch it because I only watched maybe the first 10 to 15 minutes of the movie and left the theater. Fast and Furious 8.
Ooh. Ooh, okay.
It was the movie after Paul Walker died. Everybody was saying, just why are you making another one? Like Paul Walker died. We had the best possible send off for his character, and regardless of what you say between 5 and 7, those three movies, I liked the originals because yeah, they're kind of corny, right? 1 and 2 are corny street racing bullshit movies, and I loved them because of that, right? 3 was about drifting, and it is probably one of the best that still kind of carries that same vibe of the original movies, right? And it's set in Japan, which I find is really cool. Like, it's kind of still that over the top, like not realistic at all, but it's cool. 4 has a little bit of the racing vibe to it, um, with more of like an action movie packed into it. Obviously, 5, it was very hyped. I remember being in high school when that one came out. It was more of a heist movie, and I kind of liked that about it. It assembled all of the characters from the previous 3, aside from the main character from 3, but it assembled a lot of the characters that we really liked throughout the previous movies. Um, Han was alive, but what we didn't know that was that 5 was actually happened before Tokyo Drift did. Whatever. I liked the heist aspect of it. The street racing thing wasn't in it at all. 6 was they brought the Rock's character back. Whatever. 6 was whatever. 7 was the perfect send off. The characters got a good happy ending. They were no longer criminals. They could come back. They moved into their old house again. It's like finally they got back to their lives, right? And then that was 7. Perfect send off. Paul Walker had died already, so they did what anybody would do, and they gave a solid ending. And then 8 took Dom I'm not in the first 10 minutes of this movie. Dom is in a fucking street race in Cuba, and he has a turbo strapped to a 50s fucking shit box, and pulls the doors off of it to win a street race. And at that point, I was like, this movie is going to be ass. So I walked out of the theater and didn't watch it again until it came on Netflix. It was the moment I realized that the franchise that I actually kind of liked and that garnished millions of dollars was awful. And I turned my back on it, and I have never watched a single one that has come out since.
I don't even know. Has there been any more?
Yes. There's
Oh,
currently 9. Not including that fucking Hobbs and Shaw movie, which I'm not the biggest fan of Jason Statham. Um,
well, that's where we differ because I like Jason Statham.
See, the thing is Jason Statham is the same character in every movie he plays, just like The Rock is. Maybe I would say The Rock might have more range than Jason Statham, but the thing with Hobbs and Shaw is that Shaw literally killed Han, right? And then I guess in the 9th one, fucking Han comes back to life. I only saw 8. I can't put 9 on this list because I never watched it, and I won't, out of principle. But yeah, they gave Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham their own movie together. I didn't watch it either, and I won't. It was the straw that broke the camel's back was the first 10 minutes of the 8th movie, and I'm never going to watch anymore. But go ahead. I think it's what is it? Your number 2?
Yep. This one wasn't even like a hard decision making. It was Pacific Rim 2.
I never got into those movies, so I don't have a whole lot to say, but go ahead.
Okay, so first movie, it's fine. Acting's fine, whatever. It's like an action paced thing. I like the big monster type movies like Cloverfield and, Godzilla and Kong and all
Yeah.
that. And, in the first one, it's pretty simple. You know what? We see a pilot and his brother in a machine, one of the two best people, brother dies, yada, 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 whatever. You got these giant monsters attacking the world coming from the ocean, which is nice because, if you are a space person, there's a reason why NASA left the ocean,
Yep.
which that kind of ties into, oh, okay, there's a portal in the ocean that these giant beasts are coming through, and that's why we stopped exploring the ocean. Um, yeah, there's a bunch of action. There's a bunch of just giant robots fighting giant monsters. So in that side, it's a very simple movie. And then in the second one, they were like, all right, it's going to be basically a civil war for the entire planet. It's people who support the robots fighting the monsters, and the people that support just don't doing anything. It's like, so you just want them to destroy the world kind of
Yeah,
deal?
yeah.
Like, but then you get mad whenever like something happens. You're like, well, why wasn't somebody there to, protect us? I don't know. You kind of defunded the program for the giant robots. And then you go crying and saying, "Oh, well, there's nobody here to help us against the giant monsters." Well, yeah, no fucking shit, bud. I don't know. Like visually, I mean, the movies are almost exactly the same. It's still giant robots fighting the monsters, but just the entire plot of the second movie could have just not happened. Especially with the first movie, they ended it. They closed the goddamn portal. There was only ever one. And then the second one, they're like, "Oh, well, we decided that we opened it up again."
Yeah. It's like,
why
oh,
would you
hey,
do
yeah,
that?
we opened the portal back up because the first movie did way better than we thought it was going to, and we're gonna now try to make a franchise out of this. Then they made the
Yeah.
second one, and the fans were like, "This is fucking awful. Why did you
Yep.
do this?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, we're not gonna do any more of these." Okay,
Yeah. That's
I
it.
understand your pick. Um, so this would now, I guess, would be my number one, correct?
Yep. Your least liked movie. Worst movie
Oh,
of the same.
okay. My number one is Suicide Squad. The first one that came out. It is awful. I mean, probably the worst movie I've ever seen in my lifetime. I'm not kidding you when I say that movie, and due to directors being fired and new directors coming in, reshoots, rewrites, that movie, even when it comes to the edits, is the worst movie I've ever seen. Amanda Waller creates this whole program of suicide squatters, right? You know, like Deadshot, Harley Quinn. And Harley Quinn is probably the most likable character in that movie, you know, maybe second to the Joker. And I hate Jared Leto's Joker.
Oh yeah.
But in this movie, none of these characters even like each other. The movie is moving so fast within Cosmonaut. Gonna try not to step on his toes, but there's a YouTuber called the Cosmonaut Variety Hour, or the Cosmonaut, whatever. I believe it's Variety Hours, the YouTube channel. But he did an analysis on this movie, and I had watched his analysis. I knew I didn't like the movie already, but his analysis made me really understand why I didn't like the movie. It feels like there are two movies stacked and stitched together. And certain scenes, like up until like the last half hour of the fucking movie, is where it seems like there was one vision, right? And it seems like they picked and mixed and matched scenes from these two different movies and put them together because there was one director that directed all these scenes and they had footage of it, so they just picked and cut and matched shit together with the rewritten and the reshot scenes. The plot is literally Amanda Waller builds her Suicide Squad to, in the movie, a threat that had not even been introduced yet. She even makes a comment about how someone says this isn't World War II, and Amanda Waller's like, it's World War III. And there's yet to be a threat in this movie by the time she completely assembles this team. In the first 10 minutes of the movie, there's like 13 licensed songs that don't match any theme for the movie whatsoever. It's just like, cool, this character gets this song, this character gets this song, this character gets this song. And none of the, like, you can see where, like, okay, this character would probably like this song, but none of the music matches it. Right? So Amanda Waller assembles this fucking team to fight a bad guy that has not even been introduced to the story yet. The first mission they get sent on is to save Amanda Waller, who was already in this, where this bad guy emerged from. So she was already there, but the bad guy had yet to be introduced by the time she built the team. So How did she know that they would need to be assembled to go save her when the bad guy hadn't even been introduced yet? There's a secret fucking love plot that goes on between the Enchantress and Rick Flag, and it's a jumbled fucking mess. It is absolutely horrible. If you haven't seen it, I implore you, watch it. You'll understand exactly what I'm saying here. It is terrible. The characters never get any time to actually develop. They never get any time to spend with the audience where you actually enjoy them up until like the last 40 minutes of the movie. The Joker blows up a helicopter and saves Harley Quinn, and then Harley gets thrown from the helicopter. The Joker's helicopter comes down. Harley gets her fucking device diffused in her head, and she thinks the Joker's dead. So she comes back and she's like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" And it's like she has no reason to be there because her explosive in her head had been disabled. But she comes back anyway, which isn't something she would do.
Absolutely not.
And because of the rewrites, I guess there was like at some point the Joker and Harley were supposed to break up in that movie, and Harley was supposed to take up like a romance with Will Smith's character, Deadshot. It is awful. It's the worst movie I've ever seen. It's worse than Daredevil, the movie with Matt Damon as Daredevil. It's worse than that. And up until that movie came out, I would say Daredevil was probably the worst superhero movie ever made. It's hard to even like explain how terrible Suicide Squad is. But then they end it in a big CGI battle scene, and the one way they say, "Hey, we can't destroy this thing this way," and then they end up destroying it from that same way. There's literally a scene where Rick Flag and the lady who's the Enchantress go to defuse this bomb, which the Enchantress's brother created, and all the fucking weird clay people are in it, and this is happening in literally instantly. Rick Flag and the Enchantress are like, "I'm not kidding you." They were laying in bed, shit hits the fan, and then they instantly teleport to where the fucking problem is. How? We don't know. It's not shown. They were presumably in a city that was miles away. I don't know a single fucking airplane, helicopter, jet boat that could get them to this next city in a matter of seconds, but it happens in the movie. It's bad. I'm not going to speak on it anymore. It's the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
All right.
Your turn.
No, I have watched it.
It's
I
awful.
can't say I also didn't like the second one either.
The second one, I never got to finish it the whole way through, but it was written and directed by James Gunn, who did the Guardians movies. So
Yeah.
I'd imagine it's got to be somewhat better than the first one, but I don't think it'll ever reach Guardians 1 or 2 level.
Oh yeah, the second one, it wasn't bad, but it's also like still just not my favorite. I don't like John Cena as an like actor. He's
Neither do
not
I.
that guy.
Neither do I. It's the same thing with The Rock, dude. He plays the same character in every movie he's in.
Yeah, I don't know. But my number one might be something a little surprising because of all the movies I've watched. This one has a bit more of a deeper meaning behind it. And it's Bridge to Terabithia. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can kind of understand that one.
Yeah.
The drama that it brought all these young children and young adults when it first came out, to the point where I still cannot watch it without like already tearing up just hitting play on the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
It is just a trauma response that if I see it, I avoid it like the plague.
I only watched it the one time, but I understand the emotion that you have towards it.
Yeah, the emotional damage.
Yeah, well, like, yeah, the girl dies,
But you're
right?
like, oh, it's all so happy, they're swinging around. Oh, but what really happened? She fucking conked her head on what? Oh God, what was it? Some rocks and fucking drowned. Yeah, real good kids movie there, huh?
Yeah. I I also believe that that movie was because there was a book first, right?
Yeah.
I believe that is another fucking disrespect to the source material. It's another one of those where like they didn't even try to follow the book. And the big thing is like, was the girl? I can't. It's been so long since I watched it, and it's like one of those that I won't watch again. But like, did the girl die early in the movie and she was dead the entire time, or something like that? Which is a cool thing to do, but for a movie that is marketed as a kids movie, where like the one of the main kids dies.
Especially when you're watching the whole thing and it's like, oh, she's being abused at home. She's getting bullied at school. He's getting bullied at school. Like all the underlying when you go back and rewatch it, you're like,
How yeah,
well,
how is this
how
a
is
kids
this?
movie? Yeah. I agree. I think it's a good spot. Yeah. That one also reminds me, I don't know if you remember the movie The Lovely Bones.
I do.
It
Okay.
it, it kind of it's very similar. Like the girl in The Lovely Bones gets kidnapped by this guy who kills her and she's been dead the entire time. And she's trying to let her family know that I didn't run away. I was murdered. But
Yeah.
the character also doesn't really know that she's been murdered. It's just depressing. And then our fucking parents wonder why we're so fucked up. This is the shit that your generation marketed to us
Yeah.
as kids movies, and they're dark. Yeah. I don't know. It's been I watched Bridge to Terabithia and I was not eh.
Dude,
Uh,
I saw it in theaters. I was so happy. I was like, oh, I would get to go watch a movie out. And then I'm leaving the theater like I never want to see a single movie again.
yeah. Oh, well, I think we have some pretty good lists here.
Oh, definitely.
Like
And the comparison, because yours are all about, the specific details. Mine are like, how well do I feel attached to the characters?
and like I said, yours are like how did I vibe with it? Mine are like more analytical, like but that's just our personalities, you know?
Well, see, anytime I read a book, I'm watching it in my head. So, like, whenever it comes down to a movie, like, that's taking the middleman out, but I still expect that same level of
Sorry.
connection that I would have from reading the book.
Yeah.
That's why Harry Potter was so disappointing to me, because I loved the books. And then I'm watching the movies, like, what the hell is this?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. I think Harry Potter definitely does it better than other franchises, but there are things in those books that just don't match the source material. Like, even though Azkaban is the best movie, I would say that the book doesn't exactly match up to the movie well, but it is still the way it does things is still better. I will say that the one Harry Potter movie that actually matches the book pretty fucking well is Order of the Phoenix. aside from some, like, there's like the final bits, like in the battle with the Ministry of Magic, there's a lot that got cut from the book that didn't, that didn't make the movie. But the source material is pretty damn spot on to what the movie became. It's the one that, hey, this is what happened in the book. It almost carbon copy happened to the movie. It respected the source material the most. And there were things that were cut that, quite frankly, could have been cut, but were cut to. I will say that the movie is probably better than the book because there were things from the book that got cut that didn't quite need to be in the movie. The movie is better. There are some changes that were made, but they were made in the movie, and it actually made the story better than what was in the book. It's a very rare case. Doesn't happen like that a lot of the times. A lot of the times stuff gets cut from the book that makes the movie worse. But it's kind of the opposite for Order of the Phoenix. Order of the Phoenix book, I actually think, would probably be worse than what we got for the movie.
I can see that.
That's our list. We're at an hour and almost 20 minutes, so I think we should wrap it here. Any ideas for our next one?
Not a single clue. We'll have to think on it.
We'll figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, I'd like to thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Please feel free to leave a like, comment, tell us what you want to hear us talk about. And we'll see you in the next one. This has been Game Flicks and Chill.